Welcome back. I'm Austin Westfall. Let's continue on with what we were discussing before the break. Three men accused of helping plot the 9/11 terror attacks, including alleged mastermind Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, have struck plea deals that'll allow them to skirt the death penalty, according to the Department of Defense. Dan Caldwell is the author of Vortex of Conflict, U.S. Policy Toward Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Iraq, and a distinguished professor of political science Emeritus at Pepperdine University. Dan, it's good to see you. Thanks for joining us today. A lot to get to on this one, but first off, I think it's important to remind the audience, who is Mohammed and why is he important?
Yeah, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed was really, he became Osama bin Laden's right-hand man, but even before September 11th, he had been involved in a number of different terrorist activities, including the Richard Reed shoe bombing incident, where a terrorist boarded an airplane with explosives hidden in his shoes. He was involved in the 2002 Bali bombings in Indonesia. And according to reports, he is the one who killed Wall Street Journal reporter Daniel Pearl. And in addition to that, he conceived of an earlier plan to blow up 12 airliners in Asia that would have killed 5,000 people. And his nephew was involved in the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, in which 100 people were killed and 1,000 were injured. So he was really central to the terrorist activities of al-Qaida for really almost a decade.
So Dan, why has the trial of him and other 9/11 conspirators been delayed for such a long time? Why are we just hearing about this now?
The complexities of the issues surrounding the trial, I think, are enormous. And I think there was real conflict, real tension between trying to get as much information as possible, as quickly as possible after 9/11 to prevent any further attacks. And then secondly, to observe the legal procedures of the United States. And those two objectives were really in conflict with one another. In addition to that was the question of whether those captured on the battlefield in Afghanistan should be treated as soldiers and be given the rights of the Geneva Conventions. So there were just a lot of complexities surrounding the trials. But I think that the basic tension was the tension between trying to get as much information as quickly as possible to prevent further terrorist attacks and the attempt to observe American legal procedures.
You know, how do you feel about the fact that this case won't go to trial for the death penalty? Could we have learned anything from such a trial if it had went forward?
Well, I think that, again, the complexities were enormous, whether the accused would be tried by a military court-martial. It turned out that military tribunals were established to conduct the trials. And I think the United States government in particular was anxious to keep any of the accused criminals out of the United States, because then they would have been accorded American legal rights, which is one reason that they were sent to Guantanamo, which is obviously not in the United States, nor is it U.S. territory. So some of the procedures that the accused would have been accorded had they been in the United States were bypassed by sending them to Guantanamo.
Is this disappointing families of 9/11 victims?
I think it's enormously disappointing to the almost 3,000 families who had loved ones killed in the 9/11 attacks. And certainly one can understand that emotionally and personally. And yet these complexities have gotten in the way of a simple murder trial, for instance, in the United States. But I think we'll hear a lot of, I think, disappointment on the part of families who were killed in 9/11.
As you mentioned, Mohammed has been held at Guantanamo Bay along with several other 9/11 conspirators. I know you have visited Guantanamo yourself. What did you learn?
Yeah, I went to Guantanamo under the auspices of the Department of Defense just to observe operations there. And it was a very interesting trip, particularly given the fact that I had been a visitor at a California maximum security prison, Soledad, through a prison visitation program sponsored by my church. So it was very interesting to contrast a California maximum security prison with Guantanamo. And I would say that the physical surroundings of Guantanamo were in fact better than Soledad prison in California, partially because the facilities were newly built, they were modern. I did not see the so-called Camp Delta, where the high-value prisoners were kept, so I can't comment on that. But I learned that there were a number of what I called a number of Guantanamos. So there was the Guantanamo of the Cubans. The United States got Guantanamo Naval Base from Cuba after the Spanish-American War in 1903. And until the Cuban Revolution, 1959, a number of Cubans worked on the base. And as of 2007, there were still 3 elderly Cubans who crossed into Guantanamo Naval Base on a daily basis. There is the Guantanamo of the American military staff members who served under very difficult circumstances. They were, I think, harassed by the prisoners. They were spit on, urine, feces were thrown on them, and yet they were expected to maintain a professional demeanor. And of course, there was the Guantanamo of the detainees themselves. At the high point, there were almost 800 detainees at Guantanamo, and about 740 of those 780 detainees have been transferred out now. And at the present time, only 30 detainees remain. And the process of the detention center being opened, about 10 died. So right now, there are only 30 detainees left. And of the 780 who were kept at Guantanamo, only 16 were charged with crimes. So the 3 that we're talking about now are 3 of the 16 who were actually charged with criminal activity.
Other than the 3 9/11 conspirators that reached the deal today, are there other 9/11 conspirators that are still at Guantanamo today?
Yeah, I'm not sure of the identity of the other 13 detainees who are left in Guantanamo, so I can't really comment on that.
Is it clear whether Mohammed and other conspirators will stay at Guantanamo after today? Has there been discussion about moving them?
There's been discussion. I don't think there's a clear decision, although President Biden pledged that he wanted to close Guantanamo by the end of his term. And if that was the case, the remaining 13 would have to be transferred. And if they were transferred to the U.S., they would, as I was indicating earlier, be able to sort of reap the advantages of the American legal process in the U.S.
I know there's been plenty of discussion about closing Guantanamo over the years. Have those talks largely stalled, does it feel?
Well, it has become a political question. President Obama first announced his intention to close Guantanamo. That obviously didn't happen. Former President Trump announced that he wanted to leave Guantanamo open for the foreseeable future. And as I indicated, President Biden has indicated that he wanted to close it by the end of his term. I would add that and this is a secondary issue, but I think one that needs to be taken into account. To leave open the detention center for what will be, after this plea deal, 13 detainees is enormously expensive. And I think there will be some interest in finding an alternative to maintaining this very costly facility.
All right, Dan, we'll leave it there for now. Thank you for the time. Take care.